I talk a lot on this channel about home theater, hi-fi, brands, prices, price points, and all of that for the different gear that we use. And I wanted to focus this video on a specific segment of marketing of products and how that kind of relates to home theater. And that has to do with the idea of basically a brand being premium or luxury and what that means. So I talk about Kaleidescape specifically quite a bit here, and Kaleidescape is one of those hot button topics. There's a very emotional response to them because a lot of people feel that it's an overpriced solution or platform for what it does. A lot of the folks that are in it though really love it. And one of the key elements about Kaleidescape as a company and their branding and their marketing is that they very clearly state themselves as a luxury product. And that means something different, and it sets it apart from a lot of other brands and devices in home theater and hi-fi, which would more largely be binned as being in a premium category. So I have this kind of marketing study that I want to go through, and I'm not doing this necessarily to kind of justify anything. I very much wish the price point of Kaleidescape and some other pieces of equipment in our hobby were lower so that more folks, a larger user base, had access to them. And hey, it would cost me less money to buy into those products and brands when I wanted to do so as well. But there's a very specific technical marketing difference between a brand that's premium and a brand that's luxury. So let's get into this. There's a couple of different attributes in the study. This table essentially was published by a company called 8 Luxury Marketing. At the time I record this video, their webpage is actually down. Thankfully, I had a cached version of this table, but you can't access it right now. But I want to give credit to where credit is due. They're like a marketing kind of services company, and I will have a link to give credit in the description down below. So let's talk about these attributes. First one, target audience, and you'll see this one very clearly right away. A premium brand target audience is broad. Whoever can justify rationally and financially the added benefits has access to the brand, whereas a luxury brand is narrow. Only a small percentage of the general population can afford the brand. Hey, does that speak Kaleidescape, or not right there? And one of the key elements of kind of luxury versus premium type of branding is that luxury product offerings end up kind of decoupled from their price, so to speak. Premium marketing and selling a premium product, what it offers remains tightly coupled to its price. Luxury, not so much. And this goes beyond home theater as well, I should also say. You could kind of apply these concepts to cars, watches, clothes, and all kinds of other things that are out there in the world, in the consumer world, that you can go buy. So let's talk about price, the second attribute. For a premium brand, the higher price is justified by the extra features versus a regular brand, meaning a premium brand is set apart by what it can do, putting it in a premium category. It does more stuff, they charge more for it. Whereas in a luxury brand, price greatly exceeds the functional value of the product. Hey, does that sound like a true statement for a couple home theater brands? Acts as a selection tool that limits access to the brand. So it's interesting to think about some other companies in this space. Like if you think about a Trinoff, right? A Trinoff, almost $20,000 or more than $20,000 for some of their stuff. Really expensive, kind of the high point of an audio processor. But is Trinoff really a luxury buy? I don't know. It does a lot, and I think a lot of people buy Trinoffs, not necessarily because of the brand. Some of them do. There's a little cachet, I think, attached to having a Trinoff in your home theater. They might straddle the line a little bit, but from a technical and features perspective, man, like a Trinoff is just action-packed with so much capability, so much power, and so many features in its form factor, its upgradability, and all of that kind of stuff. That's a tough one. That's a tougher one for me to classify than Kaleidescape. Let's talk about the third attribute, distribution. A premium brand distribution is broad. A variety of channels can be used simultaneously, including corporate stores, independent retailers, online, and catalog. Hopefully you're maybe also thinking about a couple of other brands that cross over in home theater and are maybe not, like Apple. Is Apple really a luxury brand? I don't think so. It's kind of a premium brand. But in terms of distribution, a luxury brand is highly selective and almost exclusively through a corporate-owned channel. Well, where can you buy a Kaleidescape? Through not necessarily specifically a corporate-owned channel, but definitely a corporate managed and directed channel, right? A dealer network that they have built, they engage with, they have specific reps, and it's a very tightly controlled thing. Yeah, you can go to Magnolia and you can go to Audio Advice. You can go to a couple kind of a little more general places now to get a Kaleidescape, but even still, Magnolia and Audio Advice are high-end home theater and audio type of dealers. You can't go to Kaleidescape.com, right, and buy one of their products, much as we may be able to like to, those of us that would not necessarily need dealer support to use and install and take advantage of a product like that. So we're kind of 3 for 3, right, so far. Fourth one, communication. A premium brand has mass communication. The goal is to inform and create brand preference. It appeals to both ration and emotion, a blend of imagery and sometimes extensive copy. So if you think about, again, premium brands reaching out, explaining features and basically being pervasive around providing information about their brand, you can see, like, you know, Denon and Marantz, right? Higher end models, premium brand, out there sharing information. Whereas communication from a luxury brand is selective communication. The goal is to educate rather to inform. And if you look at, again, what a company like Kaleidescape is doing, or maybe even Trinoff in this case, they get on YouTube channels and do interviews. They publish information. That information is really about educating about the product, and it is certainly a lot more selective. We do benefit on the Kscape Owners Forum from direct engagement to Kaleidescape. That's pretty much like the only place that they kind of deliberately interact kind of with the user base. Again, limited, selective. Here's another one, product line. A premium product line can be broad. One product for each segment targeted, which means there's higher end models and lower end models. There might be multiple models fulfilling different steps in the spectrum. And we see that all over the place in home theater, right? We've got like Denon receivers from entry point levels all the way up into the thousands of dollars. There's a ton of premium brands offering step models. Look at televisions, right? Sony, Samsung, LG, everybody. There's a new TV like every couple $100 from several $100 all the way up to maybe like a few, you know, several thousand. But when we think about product line, right, for a luxury product, here we go, very narrow. A flagship product and only a few variations. Hey, does that sound familiar? Kaleidescape, Strato Terra, that's it. And a couple not even any variations of the Strato anymore, just a couple of variations of the Terra, and only differentiated, well, in one case by form factor because we have a compact and we have a larger one, but all that really actually serves a difference of is storage space, because a compact can fit 1 hard drive, a normal sized or a full sized Terra can fit 4, naturally giving you more storage. And so in effect, the only real differentiation in that product line is the storage size. And I think you can see this as well in other home theater brands, that as you kind of go up the scale, as things get more premium or ultra premium and maybe cross the line over into luxury, right? These companies don't need to offer a spectrum of products. There's a model, there's a very small specific subset of offerings, and that's what they focus on, and that's what you get. All right, second to last one here, production. A premium product has mass production. The goal is to produce as profitably as possible. Manufacturing country is not important in the purchase decision. I might modify that a little bit and say maybe manufacturing country is not as important. I think maybe times have changed a little bit on that, and being here in the US, I think in a lot of cases there is a preference or a positivity to the idea that if things are built here, people look at those a little more favorably, regardless of the company or the kind of the spectrum under which they're offering their products. But we can point to a whole lot of premium gear around home theater and hi-fi, right, that doesn't necessarily have a manufacturing pedigree behind it, whereas on the luxury side, production, right, handmade. Method of production is part of the brand myth. Brands should not relocate manufacturing facilities to lower cost countries. Country of manufacture is very important to the purchase decision. And so I think there's pride in the idea that, like, at least final assembly, elements of putting Kaleidescape hardware together happens in the USA. And if we look at the high-end models of certain speakers, Focal for instance, right, made in France. Focal itself may not be a luxury brand, right? They offer, right off the bat, they offer a spectrum of products. There are very affordable entry-level speakers in the Focal lineup that goes all the way into ultra premium, many tens of thousands of dollars and more. And those start to come with like some of these kind of luxury pedigrees, right? Country of manufacture and narrowed product offerings in the Utopia line. So it's interesting how some companies can kind of straddle this line a little bit, and others basically, fully kind of commit to being on one side or the other. All right, last one. Differentiation between premium and luxury products. Delivery. Premium products immediate. Customers are not willing to wait. Very much so, right? The new Denon receivers get announced. They become available. Everybody wants to buy them. That's not something that you want to be waiting for. A new Apple TV. Even the new televisions, right? Everything gets announced every year, for the most part, at or around CES. Televisions start to be available in spring. People want them. People don't want to wait for that stuff. However, when you talk about a luxury product, delivery characteristics, it's not urgent. The wait for the product to be built, created, and fully matured contributes to the overall luxury experience. Right? So some of these luxury brands, again, in our home theater space, it takes a little bit of time. There's a waiting, there's an anticipation, right? Working with a dealer, going through a network for that to arrive. Not that anybody, especially nowadays, really wants to wait very long to get something that they're committed to buying. But it all rolls up into this idea of like exclusivity and building that brand image. I like how they kind of call it the brand myth, right? It's that there's a reality to the idea that goes along with certain brands, but for all intents and purposes, that identity, it's created by the brand, and so calling it a myth, I think, carries a bit of an ironic tone to it. So again, I didn't want to have this conversation necessarily to justify anything, but if you're one of the folks that gets really bent out of shape because of the entry point to a Kaleidescape system, here you go. Here's basically several reasons why Kaleidescape is what it is, costs what it does, and is marketed and sold as they do it. That's their choice. They run the company the way they want to, and we do have other brands around in the home theater space that kind of fit that bill as well. Although I would say, thinking about as many brands as I could going into this kind of thought experiment, I think we find a lot more premium brands, or maybe what you might call ultra premium, again, which straddles the line a little bit, than we do luxury. Either that, or I'm just not quite at the price point or whatever, where I'm building a truly luxury home theater. I think I'm much more, I tend to operate, I think, much more kind of in maybe that ultra premium space rather than being all the way across into the luxury space. So sound off in the comments and let's have a discussion. Do these marketing points change the way or influence the way, I guess, that you look at any brands? If you look at the brands that you own, the brands that you usually shop, the products, not even in home theater, but all around your house, your cars, your clothes, and all of that, how do you feel about premium versus luxury marketing? Is there anything that you're tied to in your life, in your consumer actions and in your shopping, that definitively rests kind of on this luxury side? Sound off in the comments. Let me know, because at the end of the day, there's really no justification for all of it. It's really just boils down to the bottom line of what a company chooses, how they choose to make their product, how they choose to position it, and how they choose to market it. So I hope this was informative and fun. If so, please like, subscribe, do all that regular YouTube stuff. And if you'd like to support the channel, check the description down below. Amazon, affiliate links, audio advice, affiliate links, super thanks, memberships, and a whole lot more. Thanks for watching and coming back for more home theater discussion and fun.